I know there are hundreds of videos about the Meta display glasses, but they don't quite seem to capture my experience or use cases. So I figured I'd step back and assess. After 3 months of active use, do I now regret dropping over $850 for these? Not at all. In fact, I still love these glasses as much as I did when I first got them. But irrespective of how I feel, I am pretty sure there are a lot of people who will not like these. And honestly, I don't blame them. Let me explain. Since I already mentioned that I love these glasses, let me start by listing all the reasons you might hate them, or at the very least, not be as enthused by them as I am. First, let's start with the look and feel of the glasses. Well, they are bulky, they are heavy, way heavier than regular glasses, and also heavier than other smart glasses, including the Meta Ray-Ban Gen 2s or the Even Realities G2, which I just reviewed. Wear them for a couple of hours and you will feel the weight. The frame itself is thick, which means that aesthetically, this may not be quite your cup of tea. But in addition, the thick frame makes your field of view feel somewhat boxed in or closed in. When you try to figure out the right size for you, it can actually get tricky. I thought the large looked a little too big, so I went with the standard. But what I found very quickly was that the standard size pinched my temples and after a couple of hours gave me a headache. So I switched to the large, which felt way more comfortable, relatively speaking. But these tend to slide down the nose every so often because of the weight distribution. Speaking of comfort, a quick note on the neural band. I'll talk about how the band adds to the whole experience, but I cannot deny the fact that in order to be super responsive, it has to be wrapped pretty snugly around your wrist. And after a full day, that can be uncomfortable. So that's the look and feel of the entire system, including the band and the glasses. Then there's the battery. I was super excited about the glasses and put them through the ringer, using every conceivable feature in rapid succession and a lot. I played music, did messaging, used the Meta AI app, turned on the heads up display for navigation, everything. If you do all that, you will only get about 2 hours of battery life. If you don't go that hard but still use it pretty actively, you will get around 3 to 4 hours, which is what I get on average. Next, let's talk about something very basic. These are glasses. Yes, they're super smart glasses, but they're still fundamentally glasses. And they come with transition lenses, which implies that the base use case is to wear them indoors and outdoors. And therefore, the most basic and obvious use is for people who have a prescription and use glasses anyway. Well, here's the catch. There's a relatively restricted strength that they support. You can only go from -4 to +4. And unlike the Ray-Ban Meta Gen 1, Gen 2, or the Oakley Metas, you cannot get third-party vendors to make a stronger prescription for you because of the tech that's built inside the lenses. And finally, there's the built-in hardware and software. The hardware isn't even as good as the cheaper Ray-Ban Meta Gen 2s. The video quality is lower, there's no support for slow-mo, etc. The software does what it does, but does not support things like YouTube or other apps. And sometimes it can be buggy, especially when it comes to things like loading up music on the supported apps, such as Spotify and Amazon Music. So, all in all, there are certainly some issues that people will find in their day to day use. So, that is a long list of negatives. Maybe I need to reconsider my views on these glasses. Just kidding. I still love them and I would get them again. So why is that? It's basically because they make me feel like I'm living in the future. They make me happy. Let me explain why. And is that reason enough to justify over 850 bucks? Well, that depends on you. So here are my favorite use cases. The fact that these glasses come with a neural band in addition to the heads-up display is an absolute game changer for taking pictures and videos in my view. On the Gen 2s or other smart glasses with cameras, you're basically shooting blind. On the display glasses, I can actually frame my shots before I take a video or a picture. I can quickly review my videos and photos right in the glasses and get rid of them or retake anything I don't like. Unlike the Gen 2s, I can actually zoom in with my camera, and the best part, I can do all this completely discreetly using subtle hand gestures. No more mumbling, "Hey Meta, take a video," hoping no one around notices, or tapping my temple like a crazy person. It's invisible, it's subtle, and honestly, it feels like magic. My next use case is translation. A lot of other glasses have the translation feature. The Even Realities G2 supports many more languages than the display. Apple has started pushing the translate feature through the new AirPods Pro. So, what's so special about the displays? Well, for one thing, you can do two-way translation on these. So, if you're wearing the displays, you can see the translation in your heads-up display, respond in your native language, and the person you are speaking with can just hold your phone with the Meta AI app to see what you said in their language. This isn't really my favorite feature and is actually something that I very rarely use. My favorite feature is the look and translate. What this means is, while I am traveling, say, in Germany, I can look at a sign at the train station in German and ask Meta to translate it for me. It will put up a picture of the sign on my display, overlay the English text over the German text, and read it out to me. Or I can also use the neural band to scroll through different parts of the translated text. This is absolutely fantastic. There are a lot of other ways to benefit from this, and this particular feature I actually do use a lot. Sticking with the travel theme, the navigation feature does not work perfectly all the time, and it drains your battery a lot, but it is still a fun feature to use and to be able to pull up a full color map display in front of your eyes in your city or even while traveling abroad in some country in Europe and being able to casually walk to your destination without ever touching your phone is pretty sweet. Next, I'll talk about a pretty basic feature which actually works way better with a display than without one, and that is messaging. While something like the Ray-Ban Gen 2s or the Meta Oakleys do a pretty decent job of sending messages through voice commands, the display takes this to another level. I can scroll around on the Messages app or iMessage. I can go up and down on WhatsApp and go back after the fact to see a reel that was sent to me uh, on Instagram. And now with the handwriting feature, I can even discreetly reply to messages, all without speaking a word or lifting the phone at all. That is quite wonderful. And the last use case I'll talk about is Meta AI using a display. I like the fact that I don't need to get a long-winded text-only speech in my ear. With the display, the phone shows me snapshots and can give me multi-step visual answers, combining audio and video that I can scroll through using hand gestures. Now, I don't think Meta AI using Llama 4 currently is where it needs to be, but it's still better than the audio only option in my opinion. So those are the things that I love, which I think are somewhat unique to the display glasses. I didn't even mention the fact that it feels pretty cool to be able to see a full color video on a heads up display that is completely invisible to others, as well as some of the smaller stuff like controlling the volume with a pinching gesture, or the recently launched teleprompter feature, or even the Instagram scrolling, which is supposed to come out later this year, all of which feels pretty futuristic. So, we come back to the age old question: is it worth it? Well, as with a lot of things, it depends. If you want light, all day comfort with a very high quality camera, stay with something like the Gen 2 or the Oakley Metas. But if you're okay paying the early adopter tax of weight, bulk, and the lack of some more advanced aspirational features in order to have a full color heads up display that can be controlled silently and discreetly with hand gestures, well, you might actually enjoy these glasses. Stay tuned for upcoming reviews of the teleprompter and the handwriting features, as well as a review of the CES 2026 hit XReal 1S AR glasses, which I just bought this week. You can also check out my review of the Even Realities G2 glasses with their R1 ring to see a very different type of approach to smart glasses relative to the Metas. Thanks, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get notified when I post my next video.